Hey guys, so in this video we will be talking about lymphatic system in quite a bit detail. This topic is usually neglected, but I think you should not keep up with that practice. Okay, let's get started. Let's start with the definition first. Definition: it is a closed system or channel through which lymph flows. Good enough, easy definition. But what exactly is lymph? Lymph is a clear watery fluid and it is similar to composition of plasma. When we did blood में हम लोग ने दो चीज देखा था कि एक प्लाज्मा होता है और एक सेल्स होता है. तो जो प्लाज्मा है उसका और lymph का constituent is almost similar, but it also has lymphocytes which circulate in the lymphatic system. Lymphocytes in lymphatic system. Easy to remember. We've done types of WBC, so I think this will be easy. Allowing them to patrol the different regions of the body. Patrol कौन करता है? Police. Police does the patrolling, right? So lymphocytes patrol करता है, मतलब हमको इतना sense आ गया है कि इसका थोड़ा कुछ defense का function होगा. Okay, let's see ahead. Just like arteries and veins के बीच में एक connection होता है जो capillaries होता है. I think the division will be done more briefly in cardiovascular system, but I think you all know कि arteries होते हैं, फिर वो छोटे छोटे arterioles बनते हैं, फिर capillaries बनता है, capillaries join up करके venules बनते हैं, फिर veins बनता है, and so and so. Similarly, there are lymph capillaries. As the name suggests, वहाँ पे lymph होगा. यहाँ पे तुम ये green चीज देख रहे हो. This is the lymph capillaries, and this border is the general capillaries. They have the same structure as blood capillaries, that is a single layer of endothelial cells, but their walls are more permeable to all interstitial fluid constituents, including proteins and cell debris. The tiny capillaries join up to form larger lymph vessels. Just like ऊपर भी होता था कि capillaries join up to form venules, here the lymphatic capillaries join up to form larger lymph vessels. Here is a small diagram of the capillary. एक साइड का ये वॉल है और ये एंडोथेलियल सेल्स है, इसमें न्यूक्लियस है. Just because they are more permeable, so यहाँ पे I have shown more space. Okay, so this is how you should draw. The larger lymph vessels are found running alongside arteries and veins. Just like capillaries were close together, even the larger vessels are close together. Like veins, they also have valves, which are cup-shaped and numerous. ये हमारा vein है और ये उसके valves है. And this is our lymphatic channel or lymphatic vessel, and this is uska valve. The main function of valve is to make a one-way system कि जो ऊपर जा रहा है that should not drop in down. So if this is the lymph and if it is going up after a contraction, it should not come down again, and that is why the valves are present. They shut down. They don't allow the same amount or the same lymph to come down, making it a one-way system. Ultimately, all of it has to reach the thorax. Thorax में किधर जाएगा? We will see. ये pushing up कैसे होता है? There are two things involved. First is the muscle layer in the walls of the lymph vessels itself. तो जो हमारा lymph vessel का wall है, उसके अंदर के muscle layer is going to contract and thus push the lymph upwards. That is first thing. सेकेंड थिंग जो इवन वीनस सिस्टम में होता है कि जो मसल्स रहते हैं उसके आजू बाजू. जस्ट वन सेकेंड, लेट मी गेट द पॉइंटर. जो ये मसल्स है, this muscles when they contract they push the channel of venous blood upwards, right? Similarly in lymph also, the muscles which are adjacent to the lymphatic vessels, they contract and thus push the lymph channel upwards. Two mechanisms, easy to understand. One is just similar to that of venous system. This regular pulsation is called the milking action, and it helps to push the lymph along and ultimately reach the thoracic ducts. Now these larger vessels, like I said, are going to thorax. They form two ducts. First one is the thoracic duct. Okay, जो नीचे से पूरा आ रहा था, that is the thoracic duct. You can see here the thoracic duct. It begins in cisterna chyli, which is here. You can see, yeah, which is a dilated lymph channel situated in front of the bodies of first two lumbar vertebrae, that is L1 and L2. The whole thoracic duct, ये इधर से इधर तक, is around 40 centimeter long, and ultimately what happens is this duct is going to open into a big vein. यहाँ पे तुम देखो ये thoracic duct ऊपर ऊपर जा रहा है. Yes, and it opens into the left subclavian vein. Right? So what happens is कि जो भी interstitial fluid था, that has again reached the vein and thus has reached the right atrium. Right? जो thoracic duct है वो किधर किधर से lymph ला रहा है, तो एक तो हमारे lower body से ला रहा है, then it is bringing from pelvis, abdomen, see will read your legs, pelvic, abdomen, left half of the thorax, head, neck and left arm. So thoracic duct almost maximum amount of lymph ला रहा है. Okay, let's read it again. It brings from legs, the pelvis, abdominal cavities, left half of thorax, head, neck and left arm. अभी we come to right lymphatic duct. बाकी का जो भी बचा एरिया है ना हमारा right half of thorax, right arm, everything, उधर का lymph will be brought by right lymphatic duct. Naturally, since it has less area to drain off, it will be smaller in size. It is just 1 centimeter long. Here you can see this part. It's not even this part. I'll draw it if you want. Here. Yes, it is 1 centimeter long as opposed to the thoracic duct, which was 40 centimeter long. This again opens into the right subclavian vein. वो left में खुला था, ये right में खुला. Again वो सारी area का lymph drain करके vein में डाला, तो vein डालेगा right atrium में और वो पूरा circulation में वापस चला जाएगा. It drains lymph from right half of the thorax, head and neck, and the right arm. Now let's see what are the functions of lymph. If you want this diagram, I'll demarcate it. The blue area is the right lymphatic duct area and the remaining area is the thoracic duct drainage. You can draw this diagram simple thoda sa in your exams. What is the function of lymph? The first function is that it returns the proteins from tissue spaces to blood. Interstitial fluid में काफी ज्यादा proteins होता है which the veins fail to carry. Those are carried on by the lymphatic channels. Correct? Second is कि कुछ भी bacteria, toxin and other foreign body रहा, if we let it travel directly through the venous system, it will go to the heart and through the heart to the whole body. उसका किधर भी पेट्रोलिंग नहीं होता है in the venous system. So for that most important function, the defense function of lymphatic system, कि अगर हम उसको अलग channel से भेजेंगे तो बीच में हम lymph nodes भी रख देंगे. Lymph nodes are actual places in between the lymphatic channels जहाँ पे they are going to kill the bacteria and kill the toxins, or see whatever किसके साथ अभी क्या करना है, everything is decided on the lymph nodes. So the importance of lymph channel in general is very high as compared to the venous system for defense. Third is important for intestinal fat absorption. जो lymphatic channel है उसमें से हमारा fat absorb होता है. Whatever fat we ingest is absorbed through the lymphatic channel and then carried to the liver. That is called as chyle because उसका color थोड़ा milky fluid जैसा हो जाता है. So thus lymph act as a medium to carry the fat from the intestines to the liver. That is a third important function. Now, like I said, lymph nodes are बीच में थोड़ा अड्डा जैसा जहाँ पे बैक्टीरिया को मारने का और वो सब काम रहता है. So they are oval or bean shaped. यहाँ पे तुम green में जो भी देख रहे हो ना, those are the lymph nodes. They are often present in group along with the large lymph vessels. The lymph drains through a number of nodes, usually 8 to 10, before returning to the venous circulation. मतलब जो हमारा सबसे नीचे से lymph वेसल जो चालू होगा वो thoracic duct तक जाने के लिए भी उसको 8 to 10 lymph node से जाना पड़ेगा. All of them will be like checkpoints. check नाका होता है ना, they'll always check कि इधर कुछ बैक्टीरिया आया क्या, कुछ टॉक्सिन है क्या. Why we need so many is because, okay, let's see, ये मेरा लेग से ड्रेन करके जा रहा है thoracic duct से subclavian vein में गया. Okay, I'm using red, although I should be using green, but yeah, here there is lymph node, here there is lymph node, here there is lymph node, here there is lymph node. Here it is draining from my leg. leg में कुछ है क्या, ये वाला चेक करेगा. ठीक है, वो उसको मारेगा कि नहीं अभी जो भी मेरे को बैक्टीरिया नहीं चाहिए, आई डोंट वांट इट टू रीच द हार्ट, सो दिस वन विल एक्ट लाइक दैट. ओके, देन वी गो अहेड. लेट्स से दिस वन इज फॉर पेल्विस. ये पेल्विस में से कुछ आया क्या, कुछ इन्फेक्शन वगैरह है क्या, कुछ टॉक्सिन्स है क्या, दैट विल बी डन बाय दिस गाय. Then this one will again check for abdomen. The same lymph is going up. It is checked at various points before it enters the venous system. Okay, that is why having more in lymph node even for the same lymphatic vessel is necessary. Now let's see the anatomy of lymph node. Okay, if I take a lymph node and I slice it, तो जो मुझे एक साइड मतलब एक संतरा को कैसे कट करोगे तो जो दिखेगा ना तुमको, that section we've taken here of a lymph node. lymph node का तीन main sections है. First, this darker green is the cortex जो outermost है. फिर जो बीच में white जैसा दिख रहा है that is the medulla, middle or close to the center, and this light or green is the paracortex that is between cortex and medulla. Okay, so the cortex has primary follicle and secondary follicle. प्राइमरी फॉलिकल प्रोलिफरेट होके वो एंटीजन को मारेगा, बैक्टीरिया को मारेगा और फिर अल्टीमेटली उसको हम सेकेंडरी फॉलिकल बुलाएंगे. उसके साथ इट आल्सो हैज बी लिम्फोसाइट्स एंड मैक्रोफेजेस. करेक्ट. द पैराकॉर्टेक्स के पास टी लिम्फोसाइट्स है. बचा medulla. Medulla has everything. It has B lymphocytes, T lymphocytes, it has macrophages as well, and also the blood vessels. So it has everything. This is the anatomy. This much is also enough for you to remember, and you can draw the diagram. Function of lymph nodes, I think thoda bahut you must have understood up until now, but let's see it again. First is filtering and phagocytosis. फिल्टरिंग मतलब छन्नी जैसा कि कुछ भी अनवांटेड है तो इधर ही उसको रोक दो, आगे मत जाने दो. एंड फैगोसाइटोसिस इज अनवांटेड है और उसको मारना चाहिए. इट इज नॉट जस्ट कि इधर रोक लो पर उसको खत्म करो. दैट इज फैगोसाइटोसिस. So as the lymph passes, it is filtered by reticular and lymphatic tissue as it passes through lymph nodes. Okay, reticular यानी हमारा मैक्रोफेजेस वगैरह हुआ, एंड लिम्फेटिक टिश्यू या लिम्फोसाइट्स और वो सब आया. पार्टिकुलेट मैटर में इंक्लूड मतलब जिसको किसको मारना है या छानना है वो कौन कौन है. एक तो बैक्टीरिया मारना है. डेड एंड लाइव फैगोसाइट्स कंटेनिंग इंजेस्टेड माइक्रोब्स, उसको भी मारना है. Cells from malignant tumor, it tries really hard to kill it off. Worn out in damaged tissue cells and inhaled particles, all of these are taken to the lymph nodes through the lymph channels and they are acted up here. They are destroyed by macrophages and antibodies. In this process, अभी तुमको ये याद रखना है, in the body wherever there is an active site, वो site enlarge होगा क्योंकि उसको ज्यादा काम करना पड़ रहा है. तुम ज्यादा मसल वेट लिफ्टिंग करोगे तो अल्टीमेटली दैट मसल विल ग्रो, नो, after then you can flex it. Similarly, because the lymph node is working so hard at that area, it will become enlarged. Okay, ये काफी important है, enlargement of the lymph node, and it is usually checked in any infection. कि infection हुआ है, अगर throat infection है तो यहाँ के lymph nodes check करेंगे, अगर pelvis infection है तो inguinal lymph nodes check करेंगे, and so on and so forth. Okay. सिमिलरली कैंसर कितना स्प्रेड हुआ है बॉडी में, वो भी हम लिम्फ नोड्स से डिग्री उसका स्टेजिंग करते हैं कि अगर यहाँ का लिम्फ नोड में गया है मतलब थोड़ा एडवांस है, अगर दूर वाले लिम्फ नोड में गया है तो ज्यादा एडवांस है. सो ऑल दैट इज डन, एंड it is a criteria for staging of cancer as well. Material not filtered out and dealt with in one lymph node, अगर एक lymph node बोल रहा है कि भाई मेरे से ये नहीं हो रहा है, then it will pass on to the next lymph node. Like I just explained, कि if it is more spread out, अगर कैंसर का बहुत ज्यादा lymph node में spread out है, that means it is more advanced. क्योंकि एक lymph node से उसका पेट्रोलिंग नहीं हो रहा है, उसने उसको pass out होने दिया कि मेरे से नहीं हो रहा है, I am trying really hard but I still can't do it. So it is passed on to the successive nodes, and by the time lymph enters the blood, it has usually been cleared of foreign matter and cell debris in the ideal conditions, of course. So I hope this is clear. Function of lymph nodes. It can be asked as the 2 marker as well as a 5 marker. Now we start a different section, which is lymphatic organs. That is part 2 of the chapter. First lymphatic organ which we are going to deal with is spleen. Very important. Spleen is a lymphoid organ. Okay, it is near stomach, it is near liver, it is near kidneys, but उसका digestion से भी कुछ काम नहीं है, urination से भी कुछ काम नहीं है. It is involved in lymphatic system. It is a lymphoid organ. About 10% of people have one or more accessory spleens. Spleens extra मतलब थोड़े छोटे छोटे balls जैसा is present around the blood vessels. The spleen lies in the left hypochondriac region of the abdominal cavity. If you have not been yet done with the abdominal cavity के quadrants, then I'll just draw here. xn0 खेलते हैं ना, वैसे same xn0 का ये बनाने का. And now we are going to label each and every 9 box. First is this जो हमको पता है umbilicus. I'm writing the first letter only. Umbilicus. Okay, easy to remember. Then this is epigastrium. Epigastrium. And then the last lower one is hypogastrium. Fine. Now बाकी के जो sides में है, it will be right or left. Correct? So we do first ऊपर का is right hypochondrium and this guy is left hypochondrium. यहाँ पे हमारा spleen है in the left hypochondriac region. Right? Then we come lower. This is left lumbar region and this is right lumbar region. Fine. And the last हमारा जो बचा है ये left iliac fossa and this is right iliac fossa. I hope this is clear. This is a little tricky but you will understand later. Just in case you have not yet done with GIT, हमारा spleen यहाँ पे है. Fine, it is purplish in color. You can see in the diagram as well that it is purplish. It is 12 centimeter long, 7 centimeter wide and 2.5 centimeter thick. And it weighs about 200 gram. Just factual information. Next. Let's see about the anatomy and where it is located. This you can see here. For remembering the relations, this is called as relation के exactly किधर है. You should always remember it through diagrams. The more diagrams you draw, it is just piece of cake. ये हमारा spleen है, यहाँ पे दिख रहा है. इसके ऊपर डायफ्राम आएगा. ये डायग्राम में नहीं दिखाया है, but ऊपर और पीछे डायफ्राम है. correct? Inferiorly is the left colic flexure of large intestine. ये जो है ना, where my pointer is, this is the left colic flexure. This is the right colic flexure and this is the left colic flexure. Anteriorly मतलब आगे is fundus. ये fundus है. So actually spleen is behind the stomach, okay? So here you can see it is little lighter. 3D imagination करो. आगे fundus है anteriorly, correct? Medially yani more towards the center of the body is pancreas. This yellow thing you can see, this is the pancreas. And kidneys, kidneys is not shown in this diagram. Laterally, yani away from the body, it is separated from 9th, 10th and 11th ribs. So on your abdomen, 9th, 10th or 11th ribs ke niche is going to be your spleen. Then there's going to be intercostal muscles and by the diaphragm. Fine, this is the relation of spleen with other organs. 9th, 10th and 11th rib is important. It can be an MCQ question as well. We come to the structure of spleen just like we've done structure of lymph node. This is the hilum. Hilum मतलब जहाँ से चीज अंदर बाहर जाता है. It's like a gate. It is situated in the lower medial border of the spleen. The spleen is covered by peritoneum. Yes, और एक फाइब्रोइलास्टिक कैप्सूल होता है जो तुम लाइट पिंक में देख रहे हो वो. That will dip into the organ. You can see this is a dipping. This forms trabeculae. ये जो dipping है ना, ये trabeculae and it is going to divide the spleen into certain compartments. Then the main two aspects और जो division है, एक है white pulp जो white में है और दूसरा है red pulp जो red में है. White pulp, as the name suggests, is going to have WBCs. So we have lymphocytes, we have macrophages, and we have other cellular material. Red pulp, as the name suggests, is going to have RBCs. It is the part which is stuffed with blood and there are sinusoids. यहाँ पे जो हमारा extra blood storage जो हम बोल रहे थे कि spleen is going to store a good amount of blood, that is done here. Then the structures which enter or leave the hilum are, there is splenic artery, there is splenic vein, and there are lymph vessels, efferent only and nerves. Efferent only यानी कि यहाँ पे lymphatic body के दूसरे part से नहीं आता है. Only whatever lymph drainage of the spleen is to be done, that is carried outside through these lymph vessels and the nerve. This is the basic structure of spleen. Draw the diagram if it is asked in the exam. Now let's see what is the functions of spleen. Okay, one by one. First is phagocytosis. Phagocytosis like we saw lymph node में भी होता है. जो भी old and abnormal erythrocytes है, erythrocytes यानी RBC, उसका 120 डे का साइकिल है. ठीक है, 110 डे का हो गया, वो एकदम फ्रेजाइल हो गया, अभी वो काम अच्छे से नहीं कर रहा है, तो it is necessary that you kill them off. That graveyard of the RBC is in the spleen. So old and abnormal erythrocytes are mainly destroyed in the spleen and the breakdown products. अभी RBC को मारा तो उसका breakdown का जो भी product है वो बनेगा, तो उसमें बनता है bilirubin and iron. Iron हमारे बॉडी को प्रिय है, वो हमको चाहिए, तो वो हम स्टोर करेंगे बॉडी में. और बिलीरुबिन है, उसको हम ट्रांसपोर्ट करेंगे लिवर में फॉर फर्दर प्रोसेस. That is a whole topic altogether. But you have to remember that the iron is gone back to iron stores and bilirubin is taken to the liver via splenic and portal veins, and there it is then further conjugated. Other cellular material, example leukocytes, platelets and bacteria are also phagocytosized in the spleen. Mainly we talk about RBCs. Second is storage of blood. जो हमने red pulp देखा वहाँ पे there was good amount of stuffed blood. right? And they also have sinusoids. Sinusoids are like structure जहाँ पे तुम store कर सकते हो. It has around 350 ml of blood stored in it. कि body को कभी भी emergency हुआ ना तो spleen देता है blood के भाई ले जल्दी से ले circulation में problem नहीं होना चाहिए, correct? That is done in response of sympathetic stimulation. यानी spleen को कैसे पता चलता है कि अभी मुझे blood देना है? So the sympathetic nerves stimulate the spleen कि listen, come on, release the blood into the circulation. We are in a fight and flight mode. Okay. थर्ड इज इम्यून रिस्पॉन्स. द स्प्लीन के जैसे ये रेड पल्प का बात हुआ, अभी व्हाइट पल्प का बात करेंगे. उसके पास टी एंड बी लिम्फोसाइट्स है which are activated by presence of antigen. अगर कुछ भी infection वगैरह हुआ then these are going to be activated and they're going to damage the bacteria, kill the bacteria. Lymphocytes proliferate during serious infection can cause enlargement of the spleen. Just like lymph nodes could enlarge, even the spleen can enlarge. ये तो एक हुआ कि immune response. जब हम बोल रहे हैं कि वो RBC को भी मार रहा है, तो in any condition when RBC destruction is more, RBC का killing is happening in more quantity, that means spleen is working out of proportion. Even in those conditions, the spleen is going to be enlarged. And the fourth one is erythropoiesis. वो मारता भी है और उसको promote भी करता है growth का. The spleen and liver are important sites of fetal blood cell production. यानी कि after adulthood, spleen is not a really erythropoietic place. But during the fetal life, we've seen this in blood chapter, that it is an important place where the fetal blood cells are produced. And the spleen can also fulfill this function in adults if there is great need. मतलब किसी का bone marrow function नहीं कर रहा है, बहुत problem है, then in some cases the spleen takes up the function of erythropoiesis, but it is definitely not up to the par जितना bone marrow काम करता है. The next lymphoid organ after spleen is thymus. Again, people really don't know about it much. काफी लोग तो तुम लोग first time सुन रहे होंगे. So let's see what it does. So the thymus gland is, wait, I'll show you this one. Okay, this is not thyroid, this is thymus. This is the thyroid gland. It lies in the upper part of the mediastinum, behind the sternum, and extends upwards into the root of the neck. Okay, root of the neck यानी neck का root. So if this is the neck, you draw it, उसके root तक जाता है वो. Fine, it extends a little bit. Sternum here is not shown in the diagram, but it is anteriorly, मतलब thymus के आगे sternum रहता है. Fine. It weighs around 10 to 15 grams at birth and then it grows until puberty. After puberty, it begins to atrophy. That is, it begins to reduce in size. Maximum उसका function puberty तक होता है, puberty पे होता है, जब उसका वजन 30 to 40 grams होता है, and by middle age, it has returned to approximately its birth weight. Okay? Then we see the relations. Anteriorly, like we said, is sternum, and sternum के फिर 4 costal cartilages आएगा, which connects the sternum. Then posteriorly, that is behind, is aortic arch. यहाँ पे पीछे aortic arch रहेगा और ये उसकी फिर branches है. So the branches are actually superior to the thymus, correct? You can see this. Laterally are lungs. You can see the lungs. Inferiorly is our heart. Superiorly is the structures at the root of the neck. Structures at the root of the neck यानी apex of lung हो गया, फिर हमारा subclavian vein हो गया, फिर ब्रेकियोसेफेलिक ट्रंक है, there is phrenic nerve, vagus nerve, thoracic duct, right lymphatic duct, all those are going to be superior to the thymus. The interesting thing to remember is that at the age of around 13, the thymus begins to atrophy. Now let's see ahead. Let's see the structure. Structure जैसे lymph node का किया था वैसे ही similar है. So first of all, there are two lobes. You must have seen it in the previous diagram also. And these lobes are connected by areolar tissue. Fine. The lobes are enclosed in a fibrous capsule और फिर वो capsule अंदर जाता है which divides it into lobules. Okay. This is one lobule, this is another lobule, and so on. Lobules consist of an irregular branching framework of epithelial cells and lymphocytes. ये हमारा medulla है जो अंदर है, and outside is going to be the cortex. This is interlobular septum, and the outer thing is capsule. Remembering this much is more than enough for your structure. What is the function of thymus? First of all, we've been talking about T lymphocytes since so long. ये T lymphocyte का meaning क्या है? जो stem cells में हमारी WBC बनता है, उसको mature होने को thymus भेजते हैं थोड़े को, the lymphocytes. The ones which mature in thymus are called as T lymphocytes. You see the name connection here? ओके. फिर टी लिम्फोसाइट में भी अलग अलग टाइप्स है. देयर आर हेल्पर सेल्स जो हेल्प करते हैं, किलर सेल्स जो किल करते हैं, देन देयर आर सप्रेसर सेल्स जो सप्रेस करेगा प्रोसेस को, किलिंग प्रोसेस को, एंड देन देयर आर मेमोरी सेल्स जो याद रखेगा कि ये वाले बैक्टीरिया को ऐसे मारना है, ये वाले वायरस को ऐसे मारना है, एंड सो ऑन. लेटर ऑन दे आर स्टोर्ड इन lymphoid tissue. This is one function. Second function is that thymus actually helps in recognition of self and non-self. So anything that passes through here is going to be detected as self or non-self. Fine. Now we talk so much कि antigen को मारेगा, and at the same time हमने blood group किया है. Blood group में हमने क्या बोला था कि ये RBC है और उसके ऊपर antigen होता है. तो you must at this point wonder कि इसको क्यों नहीं मार रहा है हमारा lymphatic system जब वो सब antigen को मार रहा है. तो this is a self antigen, यानी ये हमारे खुद के body का है. So the thymus no, it first only detects कि भाई ये तो हमारा है, इसको हम नहीं मारेंगे. It will differentiate all the antigens into self and non-self, and the ones which are self will not be attacked. This is the second important function of determining self and non-self antigens. Okay, this is it about thymus, the structure as well as function. Now we come to the last section of the lymphatic system, the last lymphoid tissue, which is mucosa-associated lymphoid tissue, also known as MALT or MALT. Let's see what it is. Mucosa-associated lymphoid tissue is not enclosed within a capsule. In capsule, we saw that thymus was in capsule, even lymph node had a covering, but these do not have a covering and they are just placed randomly at various places. They contain B and T lymphocytes which have migrated from bone marrow and the thymus. B वाला bone marrow से आता है and T वाला thymus से आएगा, and are important in early detection of invaders. Early detection करेगा मतलब let's say कि ये GIT में है, GIT वाले को pairs patches बोलते हैं. तो GIT का lymph जाएगा आगे वाले lymph node तक, उसके पहले ही pairs patches are going to be the first detectors of any bacteria that is present in the lymphatic vessels. Okay. Malt is found throughout the gastrointestinal tract, in the respiratory tract, and in the genitourinary tract, all systems of the body exposed to external environment. जिधर भी एक्सटर्नल एनवायरनमेंट एक्सपोजर है, आरएस में हमारा एयर से है, जीआईटी में फूड से है, यूरिनरी सिस्टम में यूरिन से है, सिमिलरली फीमेल रिप्रोडक्टिव सिस्टम में भी एक्सटर्नल ओपनिंग एक्सटर्नल एक्सपोजर है, तो वहाँ सब जगह पे देयर इज गोइंग टू बी लिम्फोइड टिश्यू. जो जीआई में है उसको पेयर्स पैचेस बोलते हैं. One which we all know about already is tonsils. Tonsils are an upper respiratory tract. Here, correct? They are located in the mouth and the throat and will therefore destroy swallowed and inhaled antigens. Before it even reaches ये lungs में, thorax में पहुंचने से पहले ही tonsil is going to be the first policeman. Okay? Aggregated lymphoid follicles or Peyer's patches are the large collections of lymphoid tissue found in small intestine and intercept swallowed antigens. I hope this is clear and easy to understand कि ये पहला पुलिस वाला जैसा act करेगा and it is present anywhere there is exposure to the external environment. Here we end the lymphatic system, lymphatic circulation, we've done lymphatic organs, and we've talked about malt as well. Thank you.